Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Karen with Creative Paper Artisan, and today I'm going to share a fun little idea that a friend of mine gave me. My friend Mandy had this fabulous idea. We are going to a crafting retreat together, actually one that I am hosting here in Tennessee, and well, I'm not hosting it. I've organized it. It's not going to be at my house, unfortunately. But she had this idea of putting a kind of like a passport together for, like kind of like a yearbook. The fellow crafters that you're going to be spending your retreat with can, you can write yourselves, little messages and just kind of like a yearbook thing, but in kind of a passport format. And so I took that idea and ran with it, and I'm really loving it. So let me just flip through the one that I made already. It's just 2 sheets, and these are freebies that you can get in either my Facebook group or on my Buy Me a Coffee site, and I will put a link below to both of those options. But super simple. The cover, and then the pages, and you can print out as many pages as you want. And on each page, there's a place that you can, everyone's going to be taking selfies, right? And pictures of, each other with you, without you, whatever. A lot of pictures are usually taken, yes? So you can take a picture of your crafting friend, and then, when you get home, you print it out and put it there. And then you've got a spot for the crafter's name, the retreat name, the retreat location, and the retreat dates. And then whatever message they want to write to you on there. And then you have the same thing over and over again. I printed out the inside page 4 times for this one, which gives me 14 spots, 14 pages. And it's just, I think I wouldn't recommend doing it much more than that. It was almost a little bit too fat. It was starting to peek out of the edges here, which I trimmed. It's not a big deal. But about 4 times is, I would say, the max. But you could play with it if you want. And that's that. And there's a spot here for your name. And I just did a simple binding with little beads here. So let me just show you, it's pretty self-explanatory, but let me just show you some of the tips and tricks that I found when I was making that one. So first of all, actually I just printed this out 3 times for this tutorial. And then I printed, if you want a sturdy cover, which I really like, you can print this on cardstock. If that doesn't matter, if you want it to be a little bit more floppy and pliable, then you can just use regular paper as well. So one tip that I would do, when you print out the cover page, print it out at 100% on your printer. And then the pages, make them slightly smaller. I printed this out at 97%. And that will kind of help, I think, the, the thicker it is, the more it kind of creeps out. And I think it gives a little bit more room there. I had printed these out at 98%. And like I said, they were still kind of peeking out. But then again, I do have one more set, so it was a little bit thicker. So we'll see. We'll see how this one goes. I think it'll be probably a little bit better with the 100% and the 97% printing. So all we're going to do is cut out this one piece. Don't separate them, because we're going to fold right there on both of these types. So just cut out. Don't cut around the corners yet at this point either. I'll show you a quicker, better way to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've got them all cut out, and I noticed as I was cutting them on my little slicer it's not square. It's not 100% square. So some of these, well, it'll be interesting to see how much off they are, but it was kind of a little not square, but that's okay. We will work with it. It's paper. We can mold it to whatever we need it to do. So I am going to start with the cover. And because I did this on cardstock, to get this nice clean fold, I'm going to use my scoreboard. Let me pull that back out again. This is what I use to cut over here, and it's not quite square. Oh well. It's pretty close. All right, so I'm just going to find a little groove here. And if you don't have a scoreboard, then you can absolutely just use a ruler and a bone folder or something that has a nice crisp edge, but that's not going to cut. And just, you can do that with your ruler too. But since I have this thing handy, I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. And that's not square either. That's a shame. Okay. And since I want to fold it in this way, I'm going to go over this line again. I couldn't do it like this originally because I couldn't see where where it needed to go. But now that I have the score from the other side, I can see where I need to line it up. And I'm going to do it one more time, doing it, putting the groove in like so, and make that a little bit more pronounced. And then I should be able to fold this nicely. Ah, yes. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. This out of the way. Okay, so get that nice and tight. Now let's see. It's off. It was off a little bit. Okay. Whale. Where there's a whale. See, look at that. It did not score it evenly. You know what? I think it might be. I think it might be better to do it with a ruler, because then you can control where it's going. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can fix that without ruining that side. Let me see. Whoops. You know what? I'm going to use my, my cork board with the cork board on the back, because it doesn't slip as easily. So let me try this. I had a suspicion. I was suspicious that puppy was not always being 100% square. And now we can see for a fact. I may have to just go back to the good old fashioned way of doing it with your ruler. Okay, now let's see if I can bend. It'll make the inside a little bit. Well, let me just try. Let me just try here. Because that was off too much. Sometimes you can kind of fake it and make it work, but that was off way too much for me. So let's see how fixable this is. Because I'm going to ink the edges anyway. So some of the imperfections, will be covered up anyway. And still not quite there. But okay, I think by the time I ink it, it'll be fine. All right, lesson learned. Do not trust my scoreboard. I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, so, excuse me. Now, this is still off a little bit, but not as drastic. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim it just a little bit. See, and this is another reason I think I'm glad I printed this one out a little bit larger than the pages. Of course, the same thing might happen with the pages too. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm having to trim it down a bit. So, having it be already automatically a little bit larger, I think, gives us a little bit more wiggle room. And I would say, at this stage, make sure all of your edges are the same, or at least close to the same, before we do any more finagling. Okay. All right. Now, at this point, let me get my corner rounder. And I'm going to go ahead and round the corners, just the four. We're not going to worry about these right now. Let me see which one. I think this one. Well, come on now. There we go. Okay. Now, we're going to score again. Obviously, it's going to be even more important to score it because we're dealing with the double thickness now. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way because I don't trust my scoreboard now. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Give it a good score there. Now, you may notice that I've rubbed off the ink. That's only because I have a LaserJet printer. I love the quality, the crispness of the LaserJet, but the ink does crack off or rub off if if you're kind of rough with it like that, which it's not going to matter in this case. But if you have like a regular inkjet printer, that likely will not happen. That likely will not happen. So I'm going to just gently, I may need to do it here again too. Let me see. Let me do it here too. Okay, that definitely helped. All right, so now make sure everything is lined up as close as possible. Get a good crease in there. That's definitely thick. Double the cardstock is thick, and I always like to use the 110 pound. That's pretty much all I keep around because I really like that. So okay, all right. So now this, I have a feeling it's going to be too thick. Yeah, it's going to be too thick. So that's what happened to the first one I made. So that's okay. I'll just cut this little thing by hand, which you can do if you don't have a corner rounder. You can do that with the other corners too. It's no biggie. You just have to go, it's strong. Kind of take your time there a little bit. Just kind of try to make it match. Okay. All right, and you can see there's white from the, because it didn't fold right, but we're going to be inking that, and that will disguise it so beautifully, and here as well. If your cutter is off, that's what happens, but that's okay. Again, it's all fixable. All fixable. Let me see now. This one has a bit of a lip hanging out again. Now that we folded it, it kind of shifted, but that's okay. Just a sliver. So I'm going to take that off right now. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so now I'm going to glue it down. I wanted to get all the folds right because there's no way you're going to be able to do it after it's glued. So let me, since this is pretty thick and sturdy, I'm going to use art glitter glue. Get the edges, get as close to the edges as you can without gooping, without too much goop. With art glitter, you just need a tiny little, skinny little thread. All right, and just kind of go from the middle and the top, since that's all attached, and then just kind of move out this way. And then again, middle and the top, and move out this way. So there's no bubbles, you know? No, nothing trapped in there. All right. Beautiful. All right, we're going to set that aside for now. We're not going to ink it yet. So for the pages, these will go much easier because it's nice flimsy paper. So we'll just fold it. Well, I'm gonna go by the little fold mark here on the top, since I don't trust my cuts to be. I don't want to go by the edge of the paper because I have a feeling that's off as well. Okay. Actually, that's pretty good. All right. And then I'll do the same thing here. See if it matches up with the little in there. Yes, it does. Because that's what you want to match up more than anything, is where the little indentation is, because that's where the spine, it'll make more sense for that to be more exact. If this is off a little bit like it is now, that can be trimmed. But it'll be harder to, once this is off, it might be a little bit wonky. I just that's the way that makes the most sense to me. So, okay. So now, because this is just paper, just regular paper, I can do all of it with this. Okay, see now this. Okay, but you do need to get your edges. Do need to get your edges to match before you do the corner rounder. And I just realized that was quite a bit off. So okay, now I'm good there. All right, voila. And then for this, because it's such thin paper, oops, let me get rid of these. Because it's such thin paper, I'm just going to use glue stick. And let me get myself a little protective sheet here, because the one thing that you definitely need to make sure of when you're working with glue stick is that you get all the way to the edges, because you don't want anything peeling up. I mean, if it does, you can always put a little bead of art glitter glue or something stronger, but this is a really good brand. It's just the Staples brand, and it's worked really well for me. So I shouldn't have a problem with it. But even so, you want to make sure that all your edges have a nice and coated, you know? All right, now I'll just fold it over. And again, going from the top, kind of from the top down, and then the middle, kind of going diagonally, so there's no bubbles. I actually did not do that on my first couple pages, on my first one that I made, and I have a couple of bubbles and a couple of, well, it turned into wrinkles. which isn't the worst thing. It kind of, lends itself to the vintage look. Once you fold it, there may be a little bit of wrinklage. Oh, see, there's a little bit of an air pocket there, right there. So if that bothers you, just carefully peel it back, and then, let's see, the glue may have dried. I may need to re-glue it. Let me see. No, I think that's good. Let me show you what I mean. If that doesn't bother you, then that's cool. Let me see. There's one. This one. I don't know if you can see. It's a little bit of a wrinkle, a little bit of air bubble, and I had waited too long and I couldn't really fix it. But it really actually doesn't bother me. It kind of adds to the vintage. So that's cool. It's up to you how exact you want to be on that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2 pages, and I'll be back. All right, I am back, and I cut everything out and glued all these puppies down. Oh, you know what? I didn't do that very well. I was going to say I inked the edges, but it looks like I missed a couple. That's the beauty of, one of the beauties of inking for me is it covers up a myriad of imperfections. Besides the fact that for me, it's very therapeutic. There's something therapeutic about it. And it also definitely, if you're into the whole vintage look, like I am, it definitely creates a vintage look like instantaneously, as you can see. How did I miss that? I could have sworn I had gone over all of them. Okay, just those 2 sides I didn't get. And I'm doing the creases as well, even though they may not be, they probably won't be that visible, but I don't know, it just makes me happy to know that they're inked as well. It's definitely not necessary. You ink whatever you want, and if you don't want to ink at all, that is 100% okay. This is just me. Okay. I think I've got it all now. Yeah. Okay. All righty. So now to just bind it. Now these are all the same, so it doesn't matter what order they're in, but make sure they're all right side up, because I almost did that wrong with my other one. And I was going to show you too the little faux pas with the score not being completely straight is 100% camouflaged due to inking. Thank you, inking. Okay, so now to bind it together, I did not do, on this one, I did not do a pamphlet stitch because I felt like it's too small. You could do tiny little pamphlet stitch with the 3 holes. If you don't know how to do that, there are lots of videos. I have not done one specifically for that. I have done it in a video for something else. I can't remember what now. But if you would like me to do a video on just different types of stitching, let me know, and I'd be happy to put one together for you. But for this case, I'm doing the super duper easy beginner's version, and I'm just going to do 2 holes. And because the cover and the innards are so close in size, I'm just going to do them all in one shot. And actually, before I do that, let me see here. Got a little bit of this paper peeking out. I can't decide if that bothers me or not. I think it bothers me just a little bit because it's not showing here, but it's showing down here. Okay. All right, that's okay. Let's get it all lined up, and now is the time to trim that down a little bit. Let me just carefully let's see. bit more on the bottom. Not much, not much. I may just leave it. I think it's just that top page, honestly. Oops, oops, oops. I'm trying to get too fancy here. Okay. Just keep it simple, Karen. Keep it simple. All right. I was going to try to cut at an angle and it kind of messed that up. Okay, that's better. I like that. All right. But now, of course, we need to re-ink the edges. There we go. Let me see, do I need to do it on each individual one? Maybe just a little kiss of the ink. And it made kind of the corners a little bit not perfectly round, but again, I don't hate it. I don't hate it because it again lends itself to the vintage look. Let me see, make sure there's not blatant white spots. There we go. Okay, that should do. That should do. That's much better. Okay, so now, oh, I see a pocket. I see a little pocket. I did end up with a little bit of a wrinkle on one of them, but it's not too terribly bad. And I see a little pocket here. It's too late to peel it apart now, but I'm going to try to get a little bit, oh, that's quite a pocket. Try to get a little bit of art glitter glue in here on the edge. Just need a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, let me put this back in so it won't clog. Goodness gracious. Okay. All right. So enough of that. So I'm going to just line it up really carefully. And you can see the cover is just like a 1/16 of an inch larger, which I like. I like that a lot. So if this was a bigger journal and chunkier and there was more of a playroom, I would maybe do it separately. I would punch holes in the signatures first and then punch holes in the cover. But this is small enough, I think I can hold it together easily enough without anything shifting. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if you can see here. I'm moving in about maybe, I don't know, 1.5 inches. I'm just going to use my pokey tool. And that cardstock is definitely sturdy. All right, and I'm going to, because of the string that I'm going to be using, I'm not going to be using needle and thread. So I need to make it just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to wiggle it around in there. Okay. I may have to keep playing with that. And then I'm going to go in about another 1.5 inches and do the pokey poke. There we go. Kind of wiggle it around, make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this one. I'm going to use, it's kind of a waxed twine. It's not horribly thick. It's thicker than thread, but it's waxed, so it's not fuzzy, really, and very sturdy and strong. And I think this green color looks nice with this, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one again. And what I will do, I might have to get my little pokey tool again. All right, I think I might actually try to come in from this side too. A little bit on that one. Okay, so I see my hole. I'm just going to thread this little guy through. Now I think I'm going to have to do this from this side again because the paper moved out. Created a little lip there. So I need it to go through this hole. And it is just about right. Yes, look at that. Beautiful. Now, here's the point where you decide whether you want, do you want the knot on the outside like this, or do you want to have it on the inside? Let me think. Let me think here. I think this one I'll do on the inside. So if I was going to do it on the outside, I would give myself a little more room, and then with this end go here, right? That makes sense. And then make your knot here. And I just did little danglies here because of the bow. I tried to make a bow and it wasn't working well. The waxed twine does not make very pretty bows, I don't think. So that's why I did the danglies. But I think just for the sake of simplicity and just to show you another way to do it, I'm going to take this guy and going through there, but I think I am going to need to go in here. Make sure I'm in the right holes there. Okay. Make it a little bit bigger, a little wiggle. And then thread this little dude. There, see? Easy breezy. Easy breezy. And then when you close it up, it's a nice clean little area there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and then we will do a knot. Let's make it nice and tight. There's going to be a little bit of looseness, but it shouldn't be. It's not going to cause any problems. So I just kind of do this, and then make another knot here. There you go, like that. And then just a little bit like this or like that. I don't know how you want to do it. But there you go. I feel like this needs a little bit of brown there. Okay, so there you have it. Cute little passport for your crafting retreats. Kind of like a little yearbook for your crafting buddies to sign. I'm loving this idea. Thank you, Mandy, for this idea. I love making ideas come to life. I just love it. Whether it's your idea or my idea, if you have other ideas, please let me know, and I'll be happy to, make them, reality. Doesn't have to just be an idea. It can be reality. All right. Again, I will link the 2 pages of the freebies in the 2 places that you can get them. The inner part, of course, you just print it out as many times as you want. Make it as thick as you want or as skinny as you want. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.